I'm going to talk about the Sega Pico today from 1994. This is Sega's foray into children's interactive gaming, which might have been their last, I'm not sure. It's an older system. I think the main issue is just basically with getting the cartridges to load up. So this video is showing you a really simple repair for that case when your cartridges just aren't loading up anymore and your kids are frustrated. Okay, first to get started, let's just go over the items you're going to need for this repair. Really basic stuff you'll have around the house. Might need a larger Phillips head screwdriver, probably need some Q-tips, some alcohol, and a smaller, like eyeglasses repair Phillips. Definitely will need that for these screws, they're pretty small. For this repair, we'll really only need to access just the ones along the back panel. Don't worry about all the other screws, just look at the ones around the outer edge. So you've got 1, 2, 3 on the corner, 4, 5, and lift the handle to see the hidden one, 6. Don't worry about the screws on the handle. There's 7 on the other corner, 8, and there is a tiny screw here by the RCA input, but don't worry about that one. I actually unscrewed it, but I don't think you need to. Then there's this hidden one here. You definitely need to unscrew this one, so that would be 9. And that's it. Okay, pull this little cord out of its spot there, and you'll have to pry this little yellow plastic piece up out of there. Just get this thing out of the way so you can open the case up. All right, simply open it up, kind of slowly, but reveal the inside. Don't yank it apart because there are wires attached to both halves of the clamshell. And you'll see the cartridge slot there and 6 ribbon cables. They're very simple to pull out. You just sort of grip the bottom of them and just pull them right out. Okay, this next step will actually clean the contacts on each of these ribbon cables. Get your Q-tip, squirt a little alcohol on there. Basically, just scrub the end. There's 2 sides of these cables. There's a shiny blue side, which is like a tape, and then the exposed contacts. Clean it as much as you can. Use a pretty good amount of force. And you'll notice a lot of dirt build up on the Q-tip. When you put each cable back in, you'll notice it's a little tricky. You almost need to have little fingers to do this, but just make sure to seat each cable in there all the way. You're going to want to see that blue tape, at least on the front, I think you can see the blue tape, but that it's in line with the black plastic seat that the cable goes into. All right, then after that, you're pretty much done. Just go backwards and put the case back together. Make sure there's a large ribbon that kind of protrudes out the sides. Make sure you tuck that back in as you're putting it together. And along the base, there's the feet, the 2 feet that need to be sort of slotted back in. But just go around the edge and make sure everything is seated really well. The one issue I had was that the power switch needs to be lined up with the internal switch. So just make sure that those are aligned properly. And again, put the pen cord back in place. So first you're going to slide the yellow clip back into the recess. And then you're going to tuck the wire underneath the purple plastic. And lastly, don't forget that screw. You're going to put that back into the slot there, and then you'll just put the cover on there and snap it into place. You'll want to clean your games too. Put some alcohol on a Q-tip and take your game, and where the cartridge contacts are, just rub those really well, clean those back and forth, up and down, try to get as much of that sort of that dark soot off as possible. And that will make sure you're not transferring any of that to your system. It's very important. And I would say try to do this as often as you can, as often as you remember when you or your kids are playing with this system, because as long as you keep your games clean, then your system should stay pretty clean as well. Plug everything back into your TV, and when you put the game in, it is an older system, it's not perfect, so just make sure you slide it in, and I really just give it an extra sort of push from the top to make sure it's perfectly level. And immediately after doing this cleaning, it seems to fire up all my games. I was really happy about that.